Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we are going to start very important topic, that is hypertension. Simply means high blood pressure. So what is blood pressure? It is the pressure exerted by the blood on the walls of the blood vessels, especially the arteries. It is classified into systolic and diastolic blood pressure. So what is systolic blood pressure? It is the pressure exerted by the blood on the walls of the arteries during the systolic phase of the heart or during the contracting phase of the heart. So now come to the diastolic blood pressure. It is a pressure exerted by the blood on the walls of the arteries during the diastolic phase or during the relaxing phase of the heart. A patient is said to be hypertensive when the blood pressure systolic is equal to or more than 140 millimeter of mercury and diastolic is equal to or more than 90 millimeter of mercury in two different readings with two different visits at the clinic or at the hospital. By a single reading, we cannot say that the patient has hypertension. There must be two readings at two different intervals. According to clinical Davidson medicine, blood pressure is classified into various categories. So let's start with the classification. The optimum blood pressure is when the systolic blood pressure is less than 120 and diastolic is less than 80, and blood pressure is said to be normal when there is systolic 130 and diastolic 85 millimeter of mercury. It is high normal from 130 to 139 systolic blood pressure and 85 to 89 diastolic blood pressure. Now come to the categories of hypertension or grades of hypertension. Grade 1 or mild hypertension, when the systolic blood pressure is from 140 to 159 and the diastolic blood pressure is from 90 to 99 millimeter of mercury. It is said to be grade 1 or mild hypertension. Now come to the next, that is grade 2 or moderate hypertension. Systolic from 160 to 179 millimeter of mercury and diastolic from 100 to 109 millimeter of mercury. Grade 3 or very severe hypertension, when the systolic blood pressure is more than 180 and the diastolic is more than 110 millimeter of mercury. Now come to the classification of systolic blood pressure, which is isolated systolic hypertension. That diastolic blood pressure is normal in this case. In grade 1 systolic hypertension, from 140 to 159 systolic blood pressure, but diastolic is normal, that is less than 90. And in grade 2 isolated systolic hypertension, the systolic blood pressure is more than 160 and diastolic is normal, that is less than 90 millimeter of mercury. Now come to the various risk factors. I think everyone knows about the risk factors for the hypertension. The greater the age, the more chances of developing the high blood pressure. And gender, male are more prone to develop the hypertension, and race, African American, are more prone to develop the hypertension as compared to other races. So now come to the other factors, that obesity is also important factor, especially the central obesity, sedentary lifestyle, and dyslipidemia, that is high levels of cholesterol and high levels of low density lipoproteins can cause hypertension. Family history, increase intake of sodium, alcohol, and smoking. So these all are the risk factors for developing the hypertension. Now come to the classification of hypertension according to cause or etiology. It is classified into essential hypertension and number two, secondary hypertension. Essential is also called primary hypertension when the cause of the hypertension is unknown and poorly known cause, then it is called essential hypertension, and it is very common in it is and very common in 95% of the cases. Patient has essential hypertension and remaining 5% cases are of secondary hypertension. In secondary hypertension, the patient has other underlying causes which basically causes secondary hypertension. These includes renal diseases. In the renal diseases, the most important cause is renal artery stenosis. This is one of the most common cause of secondary hypertension as far as renal diseases are concerned. And other causes are parenchymal renal diseases like glomerulonephritis and polycystic kidney diseases. Now come to the next causes, that is endocrine causes, which causes the secondary hypertension, which includes pheochromocytoma, in which there is increased levels of epinephrine or increased levels of norepinephrine. Because of increased epinephrine and norepinephrine, increased sympathetic discharge, so increased activity of the or contractility of the heart, as well as increased vasoconstriction causes high blood pressure in pheochromocytoma. And other causes are Cushing syndrome. In Cushing syndrome, there are high levels of cortisol. Very high levels of cortisol may act on the receptors of the aldosterone, so increases water and sodium retention. So ultimately increases the fluid overload and increases the blood pressure. The other causes are hyperaldosteronism or Cone syndrome. As we know that increased level of aldosterone causes sodium and water retention. When there is hyperaldosteronism, uh, so if the patient has high blood pressure along with alkalosis as well as hypokalemia, as we know that normally the aldosterone increases the sodium absorption and loss of potassium into the urine, and also loss of H positive ion into the urine. So if the patient has high blood pressure along with the alkalosis as well as alkalosis plus hypokalemia. So, doctor must think about hyperaldosteronism as a cause of this high blood pressure. Other causes are thyrotoxicosis, that is increased T3 and T4 levels. As we know that increased thyroid levels increases the sensitivity of the receptors towards the beta receptor. So increased sensitivity or increased adrenergic activity due to thyrotoxicosis increases the heart rate and increases the systolic blood pressure. While in the hypothyroidism there is diastolic blood pressure. As we know that in hypothyroid patient there is a deposition of glucose aminoglycan and various other factors in the blood vessels as well, and stiffens the blood vessels, so increases the total peripheral resistance, which ultimately increases the diastolic blood pressure due to increased total peripheral resistance. Other endocrine causes are acromegaly and hyperparathyroidism, which are very rare causes. Now come to the other causes of secondary hypertension, which includes drugs, that is non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs may cause the fluid overload in the body, and steroids like glucocorticoids and mineralocorticoids can also increases the sodium and water retention in the body. The other drugs are contraceptives, especially the estrogen containing contraceptives can increase the blood pressure of the patients, because the estrogen basically increases the release of renin from the liver. So there is increased conversion of angiotensin 1 into angiotensin 2, and ultimately vasoconstriction occurs with increased level of aldosterone because of high levels of angiotensin 2, so ultimately increase in the blood pressure. The other drugs are tricyclic antidepressants. The other causes are coarctation of aorta, which now come to the pathogenesis of essential or primary hypertension. Blood pressure is regulated by two things. One is cardiac output and the second is total peripheral resistance. Increase in total peripheral resistance can increase the diastolic blood pressure. So, similarly, increased cardiac output increases the systolic blood pressure. So, if the patient has narrowing of the arterioles due to atheromatous plaque or atherosclerosis, so it increases the afterload and increases the total peripheral resistance and ultimately increasing the diastolic blood pressure. So if the patient has increased cardiac output, which may be due to any reason, it increases the systolic blood pressure. As we know that the cardiac output is equal to heart rate into stroke volume, that is increased heart rate increases the cardiac output, can increase the systolic blood pressure. Similarly, that this stroke volume, if it is increased, it increases the cardiac output and increases the systolic blood pressure. And this stroke volume is depend on contractility or inotropic activity of the heart, as well as preload, that is end diastolic volume or venous return. If there is high blood volume, it increases the venous return. Ultimately increased venous return increases the end diastolic volume, which is basically normally 120 ml. So increase in the preload, increased preload increases the ejection, that is increased stroke volume and ultimately increased cardiac output, so increased systolic blood pressure. So this was the pathogenesis of essential or primary hypertension. Now come to the clinical features, or we can say that the organs affected by the hypertension or high blood pressure. In the hypertension can cause coronary artery diseases. As we know that high blood pressure can damage the endothelium of the blood vessels, so there are more chances of developing the atherosclerosis or atheromatous plaque, and causes the narrowing of the blood vessels or especially the arteries, so it may cause angina or ischemia and ends up with the myocardial infarction or heart attack. while persistent increased total peripheral resistance due to narrow blood vessels. So increased total peripheral resistance or increased systemic hypertension can cause left ventricular hypertrophy due to increase afterload on the heart, which may cause eventually due to hypertrophy. When persistent hypertrophy may eventually leads to dilation of the left ventricle and ultimately ends up with the heart failure. So most common cause of death in the hypertensive patients, it may be due to myocardial infarction or due to chronic heart failure. The other vascular pathologies due to hypertension includes aortic dissection and aortic aneurysms. We will discuss these two pathologies in the next upcoming lectures. Now come to the complications but because of hypertension in the CNS, which includes transient ischemic attack or stroke and intracerebral hemorrhages due to high blood pressure, vascular dementia. And the renal pathologies because of hypertension includes nephrosclerosis, that is fibrosing of afferent and efferent arterioles. So it reduces the glomerular filtration rate. Due to reduced glomerular filtration rate, it may ends up with the renal failure. And there may be a proteinuria and hematuria as well. Hypertension can cause damage to the blood vessels of the retina and cause hypertensive retinopathy. It has four grades. In grade 1, there is thickening and narrowing of the arterioles and in due to the hypertension. And in grade 2, the changes in the grade 1 along with the veins constriction at the arterial crossing. This is called arteriovenous nipping. And in the grade 3, it is basically grade 3 is the combination of grade 2 changes along with the retinal hemorrhages and cotton wool spots or exudates. And in grade 4, it consists of changes in the grade 3 along with papillary edema or edema at the optic disc. So these all are the complications of the hypertension or the effects of hypertension on various organs of the body. The most of the patients of hypertension are presented to the OPD with the complaint of simple headache. So doctor must check the blood pressure of the patients presented to the OPD with the complaint of headache. So these all are the clinical features or the organs affected by the hypertension. We will discuss the investigation and management of hypertension in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this video.